What is up, people? It is me, Monster58. Welcome back to another video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the SH Figuarts Son Goku Innocent Challenger, specifically the Tamashi Nation Store exclusive. If you guys are wondering how I got this figure in general, basically I ended up going to New York City recently, did a small weekend group trip with a few friends of mine, few very, very close friends of mine, and we ended up having a really good time. Stopped in Times Square, and honestly, I forgot that Tamashi Nations had opened an official store in Times Square, and so when we were walking through, I saw it, and I was like, oh, we gotta stop in there. So we stopped in there, and I picked this guy up. So, to preface this by saying right away, you cannot get this figure unless you go to an official Tamashi Nation store, whether that's in New York. I don't know what other locations they have here in North America and in the US, or if you go to Japan and you go to a Tamashi Nation store there. So just want to preface this by saying that before we get into the thick of the review. But take a look at the box here. I really do like these Tamashi Nation store boxes. When it comes to these boxes, this is how pretty much all the store exclusives were, from Ultraman to Dragon Ball to other, toy lines and stuff like that. You can see the nice Tamashi Nation store a logo right there. You can see the SH Figuarts, the original Dragon Ball logo, SH Figuarts Son Goku Innocent Challenger. Some nice text here on the side, some more nice text here on this side as well. SH Figuarts Son Goku Innocent Challenger, the Tamashi Nation store logo here on the top as well. And we come down here to the bottom, a lot of Japanese text as well. And then finally here on the back, you can obviously see the Tamashi Nation store, SH Figuarts Son Goku Innocent Challenger. So when it comes to the packaging, I really think the store exclusive stuff is very cool as well. Just very clean, and it's, lets you know right away that this is a store exclusive. And so, folks, without further ado, alrighty, folks, here we have the SH Figuarts Son Goku Innocent Challenger from the original Dragon Ball series from the Tamashi Nation store, the Tamashi Nation store exclusive. Out of the box, and guys, I gotta say, this looks really, really solid. The one thing I should have researched, and I didn't do too much before we get into this review, is how much this differs from the original release. But regardless, when it comes to this figure, I am very much happy with it so far. There are a couple of things we'll get into that I'm not the biggest fan of, but at the end of the day, it's a solid release. But take a look at the details here. You can see the very nice face sculpt here. Looks really, really good. I really do like that face sculpt. The eyes look really nice. Just the proportions of his face just look really good in the way that they did all the paint and everything like that. You can see it just looks really, really clean. The hair looks fantastic as well. I do like the color of his gi and everything like that. Very original Dragon Ball, looks great. All of the blue as well looks fantastic. Come around here to the back, and you obviously see his tail that he had when he was a kid. You can see the power pole. This is also an accessory that you get. Obviously, the Turtle School logo there on the back as well. Just very clean. The only thing this thing doesn't really have a ton of is shading at all. But for the most part, again, like I've mentioned in the previous few reviews for Dragon Ball stuff, I'm not all that angry about the lack of shading in most of these figures. Would it be good? Yes, absolutely. But I don't think that it would have made this an insane amount better than it already is. I really do think that this is a solid release. So when it comes to this and the details, I really do think that the details are really, really nice on this figure. So what we're going to do is we are going to set Goku off to the side here, and we are going to be doing a size comparison. Alrighty, folks, here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus. As you can see, he's pretty damn small. At the end of the day, he is a Kid Goku figure, so he's going to be small, but he's about, 3/4 the size of an average deluxe size Transformer, just to give you guys an idea of how big this guy is. Alrighty, folks, here are all the accessories that little Kid Goku here comes with. And so when we're looking at all the accessories, he comes with a nice amount of stuff. The one thing I'll say in the review that I do, that I'll say sort of in the detriments of this figure, he comes with a nice amount of stuff, but at the end of the day, I do think maybe he could have come with maybe a Kamehameha beam effect part, a little bit of extra things. But at the end of the day, the accessories are pretty solid all around. So, first off, you do have a new hair piece. Now, it's very weird how you attach this. So, when you attach this, you have to remove the top hair. You then remove his face, and instead of removing this entirely, like the neck joint, you just remove the actual hair piece like so, because it tabs in via these little holes here in the back with this bit on his head. Then you just take this new hair piece, you then just slot it into place like this. This one always, the extra one's always the one that gives me a tougher time. That, and then you just put the face on that you want. So let's just say you put this one on because I think this fits this face a lot better. And then you can put the new hair piece on via these two little peg holes, and then you have two pegs right there. You can see those, and then peg that right into place. And we take a look at this. It looks really, really good. I do like how that looks. It's very fantastic, and you can see the nice face sculpt here. This new face that he has looks really, really good. I really like very old Dragon Ball. It looks really nice. The proportions are great. And then these are the other faces as well. He's gonna get knocked down, but whatever. You can see he has one here where he's kind of looking to the side with his gritting teeth, and then one where he's just kind of pissed off on the right here. These both look really good. Again, I really do think that the faces for this figure are fantastic. So looks really good there. He comes with his power pole, and to go along with his power pole, he also comes with two hands that can hold the power pole. So very simple, just like any other SH Figuarts, you can remove the fist. Then you can just put it back on like so. And so what ends up happening is you can just have him hold the power pole, and he holds it very well. He comes with some like blast effect or like other fighting pose grippy hands, and then he comes with his full fighting pose hands. So he comes with a nice amount of stuff. I do like what he comes with. And if you're wondering how to attach this power pole, essentially just remove everything like on the head like this. And then you do it like this, and then obviously remove this bit here, and then just slot this in. So you can just pull this down, pull the arm up, and then you can just pull this down. Now, for the power pole too, you can also remove it from here. It just pegs in in that little hole, and then you have a little peg right there. And that's really nice because obviously when he's holding the power pole, he's not going to have it in his sash. So at the end of the day, that's really cool. So again, just to attach the original hairpiece, you can just plug it in like so. Then we can take the original face and put that on like that with those two little tab holes. Then you can take the original hairpiece, and then that just goes into the top there. And lo and behold, here we have Goku back in his regular form. So at the end of the day, when it comes to the accessories, although he doesn't come with like a Kamehameha beam effect part, he does come with a nice amount of stuff, and I can't really complain all too much about it because I think it's pretty nice. All the accessories are really solid. Alrighty, folks, now it's time to get into his articulation, and there's one thing about the articulation I'd like to get out of the way first is his tail. Unfortunately, his tail for me is very loose. Messing around with this figure for the past few days, definitely his tail has popped out more times than I'd like to. It's on the ball joint, but you can see that it's very loose in there. It's on the ball joint, you can rotate it all the way around, but at the end of the day, it's very loose, and that's one thing about this figure that I do not like. Now, I don't know if the original release had it like this and it was pretty loose. Like this was a prevalent issue on it. So in the comments below, if you had the original figure of this Goku, I'd love to hear if that was an issue that you had before. But yeah, you can see it's decently articulated. Just unfortunate that it's loose. The head is on the ball joint, base of the neck, and at the top, it's kind of like a base as well. And then you can do full 360. You can look down, up, do a little bit of wiggle waggle, a tiny bit of giggity goo. Ab crunch, you get a pretty deep one here. It does expose the joint a little bit, but not too bad. Then you can get back pretty far as well. Arms will do full 360 even with the sash on. They bend at the elbow, rotation the upper part of the bicep as well, and then you have wrist articulation. Then you can also bend like this in the ball joint. Yeah, you can see that's falling off already. Waist is a full 360. Just got to turn that. Whoops. Turn that like so. Whoops, like that. And then you can hold that, and now you have full waist. This is also a little bit articulated. You can kick forward about that far, which is really far. You can kick back about that far, which is decently far. About 90 at the knee, maybe a tad bit more than 90 at the knee. And then you have rotation here at the upper part of the thigh, and then you have ankle rocker. And I think, yeah, this back part just come out. This is actually the first time that that's happened. That's quite annoying. That actually hasn't happened before. But yeah, for the most part, he's well articulated for how small he is. He's not the most articulated because, of course, he's a tiny character. So at the end of the day, they aren't gonna be able to get an insane amount of movement out of just a small-bodied character like this. But at the end of the day, for what he is and everything like that, I think he is pretty nicely articulated. All things considered. Alrighty, folks, for my final and concluding thoughts on the SH Figuarts Son Goku Innocent Challenger, the Tamashi Nation store exclusive. This is a fun store exclusive, and I want to factor travel into my verdict on this figure. And the reason being is because I assume that most people don't necessarily live next to a Tamashi Nation's official store. Obviously, if you live in New York City, then you understand where it is. But regardless, what I'm saying is most people don't live there. And so, what I like about this figure is one of the things I didn't mention in the main review is the price. It's about $40. And at the end of the day, it is still expensive considering how small he is, but when you're pricing it relative to how much you're paying to go on vacation, because I think most people will pick this guy up while they're on vacation, when they're out or something like that, that's pretty reasonable, all things considered, when you're considering food and like other souvenirs that you would buy. Like imagine just going to Disney, you're going to be paying that much for a plushie. So you can see what I'm saying here is at the end of the day, if you're looking for a small souvenir from the Tamashi Nation store that you go to, whether it's New York, whether it's in another place, a if you're looking to not break the bank and you're looking to just have a figure that won't take up much luggage space, this is a perfect figure to buy. Luckily, we drove because at the end of the day, New York City is not an insanely far drive from where I live. So what ends up happening is that it was pretty easy to pack. But I imagine if you have to fly into New York City, that this really isn't a bad figure to pick up in terms of placing it in maybe your, the luggage that you'll throw on the plane or something like that. That'll be, carouseled from, that you have to check in, right? Check in luggage, excuse me. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. But check-in luggage, because I've traveled plenty. But check-in luggage, it really won't take up that much space. And again, a more reasonable price. There's a lot of figures there that you can buy, like the Soul of Jigoken, which isn't necessarily an exclusive, but that's like $300. You can see what I'm saying. At the end of the day, it's pretty reasonable. When it comes to the things I don't like about this figure, at the end of the day, it's really the loose tail, which sucks. And I would have liked for him to come with maybe an extra accessory, but the main accessory I would have liked him to come with, besides a Kamehameha effect part, is mainly a smiling face. Goku smiled a lot in the original series, man. He was a happy-go-lucky kid after hitting his head, at the end of the day. And so I would have liked to see a smiley face for this release. I don't mind that he has all these very angry and serious faces, but at the end of the day, having a smiling face like the one we got with a recent Glorio for the Daima Goku would have been nice to see something like that for this Goku. But regardless, it's still a solid release. The only other thing I'll say about this figure I don't like is mainly it's just not spectacular. It's a figure I'm not going to stand up on the rooftops and scream about or rave and, be super happy about. At the end of the day, it's just a solid release, and if you're out on vacation, you happen to go to a Tamashi Nation's official store, would recommend picking this guy up. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to give this guy an 8 out of a 10. Everything else is solid articulation for how small he is, solid accessories, nice paint overall. The sculpt and the details look really, really nice. Very on point and accurate to the original Dragon Ball show. At the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with it. And again, if you're out on vacation, I would recommend it. I will see. At the end of the day, I can't really provide links to any listings on Amazon or Big Bad Toy Stores because it's a store exclusive. But the best place you're probably going to be able to buy this guy if you can't get to a Tamashi Nation store is going to be online on eBay. I would say eBay listings. I'll see if I can maybe link a search query so that you guys can have a search results page for maybe people who are selling this figure boxed up still. But at the end of the day, if you're out on vacation, specifically in New York or wherever other locations they have here for Tamashi Nations in the US, would highly recommend you go in and pick this guy up as a souvenir. I think it's a really nice figure. Again, won't take up much luggage space, won't break the bank. Pretty nice figure overall. And so that's really it for the review. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Also follow me on the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.